All right, let's make sure. Okay, you guys see what it... Really? Oh, God. This is what I was trying to do. So, I got me some grease and wax remover. This is Duplicolors, because this is the local stuff I have at my place. And I'm sure some of you guys are going, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, that's what I shot with this. I shot Duplicolor primer sealer. So, you can't tell that I cleaned that. Maybe I didn't let it sit long enough. My biggest issue is I want to make sure that the rivets aren't being erased. But I think this isn't primered. This is primered on this. Okay, let me get in the frame. This has been primered with the sealer after I've laid down the rivets. This side has not. And you can still see kind of, there is some crap there. Now, I don't know if that is good or bad. So, we'll probably prime that side as well. Actually, I'm going to leave this as a test side. And, oh, still wet. This side has primer on it, I believe. So we can get down in here and we can look. Yeah, I believe it's been primered, but I scuffed it. So that's the other part of this, is I got me some scuffing material, but we're going to try. And where the hell did my rag go? Here's my rag. Already have some degreaser on here. And I'm going to where there are raw rivets, like rivets that are already, they haven't been primered. So you can see these rivets are just plain glue. So this was one of the tests, is I wanted to see if it was going to take off rivets or not. Let's see how that does. Because ultimately, I don't want to take the rivets off because I'm painting over them and I want them to stick up as much as I can. Oh, shit. I rubbed it too hard. Okay, so this stuff will take off the raw rivets. That is not good, which means I'm probably going to have to scuff all this stuff before I put another layer of primer on it. So, well, going to have to redo that line of rivets. Back. And the really sad thing is, I know that this glue is wood glue, and I just scrubbed the hell out of it, and it's still there, just as prominent as ever. The wood glue didn't get wiped off, but the Formula 560 just, if I wiped it hard enough, it would go away. I could do it really light, and it would not come off. If I only did a couple wipes with the wet and then dried it off, there is, it's where is it? Where'd it go? Okay, there is the stuff that I wiped off. More than likely, this is going to have to get primered, which I kind of planned on. I'm just hoping that the new paint will adhere over the sealer. So this is a good reason to have a vinyl cutter, because you can take and make perfect little masks for bearings and stuff like that are perfectly symmetrical and perfect and all that kind of good stuff. A little bit of mask for the bearings so that I can paint everything else. This is why it's so slow, because I want to do so many things. And in order to get paint on it, I have to do it before the paint gets done on there. This was a whole nother separate issue. I had to redo this, and you can't, thank God you can't tell now, but you see that little line right there? Well, that's because the door was so small, I had to recut it. And then there is filler on the sides. Well, the filler is giving me fits for years and years. I think I got it fixed. I had to put some CA down underneath it and get it to hold. And yeah, so I'm sure that will come back to bite me in the ass. But there's all kinds of details and stuff in here. And you've been watching me do all these rivets and all this kind of stuff. But you can totally see everything that's in here. So I've been putting the rivets inside the steps because you can see it all. And I want to do it really good. But then here is the issue. Okay, well, shit, you can't even tell that it's crooked in this thing. Everything is off on this. You've heard me say it a million times. It's off. I mean, I took and I shrank the whole cabin up, sucked the mechanics in, did all this stuff. In actuality, the bottom of this fuselage should be up to here. It's about right there and go all the way. But that would entail cutting it all off, cutting all these off, cutting the tail. The tail's at the wrong angle. The tail is too short. It should be, this whole section should be a whole nother section back here. Yeah, okay, I'm ranting. But here is the newest issue. Okay, so, well, it's not the newest issue. Partly because I screwed it up and didn't notice it from the beginning. So if you're looking down in here, you're going to be looking at seats, hopefully, and a dash. So that might cover most of this up. But if you look at this, there's a line, there's a line, there's a line. And you can see nothing lines up. So this looks a little crooked with that. This looks a lot crooked. This one looks a lot crooked, having to fudge it. And I started off looking, I'm like, okay, well, that lines up. That looks like it lines up, but it doesn't. You can see from the front. And I lined this particular one from this corner to this corner over here, right? You know, because there is a panel line. There is a row of rivets on the inside that go right there, and they line up on these things. Well, when you get up here, this whole thing is either warped or twisted or something, and I can't straighten it. I can't do anything with it. So I'm going to have to redo these lines and fudge them so that they kind of line up a little bit better. Because first thing somebody's going to do, they're going to come up here and they're going to look at this and they're going to go, oh, well, the lines are crooked on the inside. Hopefully, me putting seats and all kinds of other things in there will kind of help. But I am going to take this row off and that row off and kind of rotate them a little bit to help, because it really stands out to me right now. So that is where we're at. We're getting close. The fuselage is now pretty much sealed. I've got the paint, the primer on here. We've got a few more things to primer. I have to seal up all of the bearing housings. I was spraying some primer down inside to kind of clean things up. Yeah, like this is a metal block to hold the tail rotor gearbox. So that's going to get painted. And you know, like I was saying, it's really nice to be able to have a vinyl cutter that'll cut a perfect circle to the exact diameter of what you need, like in every single center of those pieces. Really nice. And the last thing I'm doing after I seal it is I'm going through and I'm scuffing it with some gray scuff pad. It's proving to not take off the tops of the rivets. They're still there. Like, I scuffed this and then I sealed it, and you can see it hasn't taken off, you know, much of the rivets. Maybe a little bit, but you know, we're all in there. But found out I had to put rivets all around that little damn thing. Had a couple of little pieces of detail that weren't on there. Had to get that done. And one of the bigger dilemmas was the drive shaft, because this one is actually a functioning drive shaft. I am not going to paint it because I need to be able to get it in and out. If it's painted, I'll never be able to get it out of these because it is perfectly lined up. So, good news, bad news. I don't have to paint it. Bad news, it's not scale. And it's a scale white shaft all the way to the back. It took a lot for me to, I had to like scrub them and clean them, scuff it a little bit in order to get them out of the bearings, which is a good thing. That means the tolerance is nice, but bad news is I had to work it. I mean, it took me 10 minutes to get it out, just out of that thing. So anyway, that's where we're at. We're starting the painting process. We're starting the masking process. And as I'm doing all this, I'm finding details that are needing to be put on, like the rivets inside. This whole panel has rivets on it. Yeah, I'm dying in here. So you think putting 70,000 rivets on there is hard? You can see the insanity. So it was really hard to reach in there, and you see there my screw ups where some of the rivets have glued themselves together. But I got to get 3 more rows on that. I got to get a row up the middle. I got to get a row up the side. Yeah, let me show you. So this is how I'm having to do it through here and actually get it up to that point, and then I got to take a finger, and you can't see anything because my finger's in the way, but I got to hold the front of the needle because my hand is all weird way back here, and if I hold it back here, the tip just goes all over the place, and I can't get it lined up, so I got to take a finger and hold it right at the tip and slowly put it in. And of course, every time I try to do it slowly, this thing bumps, and there's a big old glob of glue on it every damn time. That's just a picture in my day of insanity. All right, it's official. The first color went on. It's an actual color, but it's gray. Gray. So the inside of the cabin and all that stuff is actually a gray color. So I had to get that done before I start working on the outside stuff. So I had to get this all done, and it's about as good as it's gonna get. So it's definitely not perfect because it's a rattle bomb, but you know, it's in there good enough, and I'm getting started on it. So most of the stuff's gonna get weathered and all, you know, messed up and all that stuff because it all looks, you know, dirty and worn and all that crap, but you got to get the color on in order to get started. So the first official color after 13 years is gray.